Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Hello, my name is Mary Seitz, and you're listening to Under the Rug, a podcast discussing the things that often go unsaid in the workplace. Here I have with me my wonderful grandparents, Marty and Denise Scallon. Can you guys tell me a little bit about yourself? Mama, you can go first.
Well, thank you, Mary. It's such a pleasure to be here. And my name is Denise Scallon. First of all, I'm a grandmother of 10. I'm a wife of 52 years. But most importantly, I first half of my life dedicated my life to my children, but at the age of 50 went into the business world for myself. And at the end of a 20-year career in running a $4.5 million account for a cosmetic company, being the account executive of the state, I had 11 retailers I was in charge of. So I have a lot of personal experience and a lot of business experience working for other people and working for myself with my husband and I having our businesses.
Very cool. How about you, Papa?
Well, thank you for allowing me to be here. I've been in construction all my life. I came out of junior college in 1969 and couldn't find a job. And a dear friend of mine and mentor took me under his wing and got me into the construction industry. And from there, we went off into, we've had 4 businesses, and here we are now, we're retired. And so it's been, we've been blessed. I have a great family, and I'm honored to be here today.
Yes. So what were the names of your 3 businesses that you had?
The first business, I think, was Red Mountain LLC. We had a construction company back in Illinois, and I think it was just our name, Scallon and Sons.
Mhm.
I'll have to tell you that story. And then we had a company called the Connector Company. And most recently, for the last 15 years, we've had Marden Electric LLC.
Mhm. And I know the name Martin Electric is very special. Can you guys explain where that came from?
Well, when we were naming the business, I thought, why not combine our 2 names, Marty and Denise? And I said, let's name it Marden, M-A-R-D-E-N. There was a few years there that I wondered why I didn't say Denmark, but we kept it Marden. So it's just abbreviation of our name, but it's kind of fun.
Denmark's pretty cool too.
Mhm.
Okay, so having 3 businesses, you are very skilled in making one, the process of it. So what would you say is the best part of having your own business?
Well, I think, if you have that entrepreneurial character, you gravitate towards that. There's something about working for yourself that's intriguing. With that comes the responsibility of the decisions you make. It's always a challenge. If you like challenges and you're willing to step out of a comfort zone, then you're more apt to want to go into business.
Mhm.
For me, I like the freedom of making my own schedule and doing what I wanted to do. And when I had my own career as a professional, I was the boss. So when you have your own business and you're the boss, it's even better because you decide what to do and how to run the business. But ultimately, you're the project manager and it's all on you. But that's also the exciting part about having your own business. And, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. You learn from having had 3 businesses. We've learned a lot. And the last business was the most successful because we looked back at what did we do right, what did we do wrong, and we learned from it.
And that's really important.
Mhm.
So what were your guys' roles in these companies? I know you both had a certain role.
For me, the first couple of businesses I was not actively involved in. Marty, your grandfather, ran the business and did everything. I either was raising my children or involved in my own career. And one of the things that we learned the hard way was if you're going to start your own business and be a small company, you have to, one, have X amount of dollars that you need in the bank to live off of or run off of, or have somebody in that business having an income already. So the last 15 years, I had my career as an account executive, so we never had to worry about money. I, provided for it, and the money could be, floated back into the business to cover the bills, to not drain it, because that was one of the things we learned the hard way back in the 90s is I didn't have a paycheck, and there was too much money taken out of the business, so therefore the business wasn't as successful as it could have been. So my role truly until 5 years ago was in the background helping them make decisions and being the soundboard. But then 5 years ago when my career ended, I became the general manager and really freed him up so he could really estimate jobs and pursue work, where I did a lot of the background. I went to business meetings. We were active in the National Electrical Contractor Association and in the IBEW, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. So I went to a lot of those meetings and reported back to him so he didn't have to go to them.
Yeah.
So I generally helped him run the business.
Okay. What about you, Papa?
It's very interesting because I think what happens is Einstein said that the definition of insanity is when you keep doing the same thing over and over again,
Yeah.
expecting a change. So I think having these businesses, hopefully, we would learn what not to do in the next business.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful. So I think even when you have a very small business, you need a model or a business plan. I don't care what size you have, whether, not everybody's going to be a Bezos with Amazon. And so our business, basically, our revenue every year was under $1 million.
Yeah.
And our employees, we ran from usually 1 or 2 up to 10 or 12. And so we always had a business model, and that even has to be tweaked every so often when you're in business because things change.
Yeah, exactly.
What are the things we learned with our business model? Because our first businesses, we never had a business model. We just kind of jumped in and did it. But like I said, we learned, through trial and error what to do. So with this business model, we wanted to keep the jobs. And to clarify, Martin Electric LLC was a commercial electrical contracting business. We bid all commercial work. We did not do residential. So all the jobs we bid, we kept within let's use the dollar amount of $50,000 jobs, because we found doing a $50,000 job, we were more profitable than when we did a job that was $130,000. So bigger was not necessarily better.
Yeah.
So we started from the very beginning, keeping our jobs within a certain dollar amount, and we stayed profitable on those jobs for 15 years. It was when we jumped out and took on the bigger job. I don't know why we ever did, were when we struggled with cash flow, with decision making, with not having enough people that we would pool in to work for us, or people that we wanted to represent us, because we were a union contractor. Meaning all of our men were in the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers union here in Phoenix, 640. So there might not have been the type of people that we could get represent our company. But if we stayed within our business model, we were all good.
Yeah. I think it's really important to stick to a business model because it's more organized. And then I think the businesses that jump around don't really have a business model. They're the ones who ultimately go down.
Well, I think one of the most important things is I was the estimator and electrician. I would get excited on some of the projects we did as design builds, but I wasn't a good accountant. I wasn't good at
Payroll.
So
Taxes.
Taxes.
Yeah,
So
right.
we learned, one great thing we learned is to sub that out. And that worked very well because I used to always say we worked for our accountant because we'd tell him something and he would go, no, you're not going to do that. And so that's why you have them. And as a small business, I don't know if I can use the term, we used QuickBooks. And if you look at the QuickBooks program, there's so much you can input, but I suggest when you're starting out, you just need to go with the basic stuff to make it work for yourself. So it's important that you make your decisions based on your company and your business model.
Yeah.
But, looking again in hindsight, when we tried to do it all, you can't chase more than one rabbit at a time and be successful, right?
Yeah.
So not chasing all those rabbits of payroll and income taxes and, invoicing, cutting it down and outsourcing that was key to success.
Yeah. I know you brought up union workers. And so why is that important to you to hire only union electricians?
Well, I think your most valuable asset in your business are your employees because they're out there representing you every day. And so you want to bring to you people that are just not only good with customers if possible, but they're very good at what they do and at their craft.
Highly skilled.
And so
Excuse me.
So we would, we would always pull from the IBEW. We were signatory contractor. And I was involved also with the National Electrical Contractors Association. I sat on the board. And I was involved with the apprenticeship program as far as interviews for new candidates.
How did this all happen? How did you get into the electrical industry?
I think Papa could give you his timeline because, we're the sum total of all the decisions we've made in life and all of everything we've done in our background. And if you go through his timeline, you're going to see how it all just came together.
So, like I said, I'd come out of college. I ended up in construction. Then we owned a business. It was repair of equipment, and part of that repair was generators and standby equipment. And that was that always interested me, and I found that to be exciting for me. That was my next step was to do electrical work. And so I ended up being an IBEW member, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And I worked for various contractors in the valley here till when we decided that we were going to go off on our own.
What do you think, Mama?
Well, I think he's pretty humble about everything he's done because very early on, when he was a young man, still in his 20s, he started his own contracting company back in Illinois, where we built and repaired houses and did siding and additions on houses. And then when we moved to Arizona in 1980. Again, he got into construction, got his construction license here in Arizona, and we built a couple of houses, including our own, here in Arizona, and went into, just the craft of that construction background. And through the years, that construction background that he was in, working for other people, brought him to getting into the connector company, which was directly involving pneumatic air tools and generators for the construction industry. So those generators and the power and the electrical around the generators is what got him interested in electricity. So, we made a whole bunch of mistakes with the connector company. And when we closed that business down, he said, I'm going to go become an electrician. I really liked what I did here on these with these generators, repairing them. And I understand the electrical part of it. And that's how we got into, in 1996, how we got into the electrical part of the construction industry. So everything he did for all those years brought him to, being in the electrical industry. Yeah. After over 40 years of being in the industry, he just retired just this past summer from the industry and being on the board of directors of the National Electrical Contracting Association here in the state of Arizona for the last 10 years, So again, we're the sum total of everything we've done that has brought him up to here to have this knowledge of owning businesses and electricity.
You have to love what you're doing. So if you find something you like to do, I suggest you research it and then you could pursue it. What you have to be is a self-starter every day.
Yeah.
That's the key to it. You have to be excited about what you do. If you have those two qualities, then everything else can fall into place with a little common sense.
Yeah. And I know it was hard for you guys to retire, especially Papa, because I saw that happen last summer. So overall, your whole experience that you've had for so many years, what is the main piece of advice you have for people who want to start their own business, who want to be as successful as you guys?
For me, I think you need to wake up in the morning and be happy what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you can't wake up in the morning and say, wow, I get to go do a podcast today, or I get to go, bid a job today, then don't do it.
Yeah.
You have to wake up in the morning and be excited about what you do.
Yeah.
So if you have that passion and excitement for what you do, and you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you're a self-starter, meaning you don't need somebody to tell you to get up. You don't need somebody to tell you to do your homework or to go to school, that you have that drive within you that someday you're going to do something really big, that you want to, just strive to reach a goal, and you have goals already set for yourself. Then you're going to make it.
Yeah.
Because my definition of success is not because you made money. My key to success, my idea of success is not that you, had 20 employees or your business hit $1 million and you made X amount of dollars. It's waking up every day and being happy at what you do.
Yes.
Then you're successful.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think, Papa?
Well, several things. If you're gonna go in your own business, you have to, if you're gonna have a partner, you have to think, and it's not your wife or your partner. You have to realize you're going to end up with two marriages if you have a partner outside of that. And usually with that comes his or her partner. And so we had a partner in the past business, and I think that was the hardest thing for us. Although we had controlling interest, it's hard. Employees, they're the most valuable asset for your company. Model, that needs to be reviewed every so often.
Yeah.
Cash flow, if you have a partner, you're starting a business from scratch, and you have a wife or partner or husband, and they work, it makes things a lot easier. Because when you're first starting out, not all businesses, but from what I can see from small businesses, I think there's a 95% failure rate. And that's because of cash flow.
Yeah.
And we saw that with our business, when we had, $250,000 worth of work going, you're still covering the payroll. And, I used to tell my people that I had with me for a long time, I said, you know what? I'm not going to get a check this week. And they go, oh, no, no, no. And you go, no, it's true. It's you guys get paid first. You're the most important thing. So,
Yeah. You guys are the definition of a small business, like the spirit of having a small business. You had 2 companies before your biggest one, and each time they didn't work out, you came back and you made it better and you learned from your mistakes. And I think that really takes a certain kind of person, because most people who want to start their own business, they think of this great idea. They start building their small business, and then when it doesn't work out, they give up. And that is not the spirit that it takes to have a small business. And that's why so many of them don't work out and go under the ground.
I agree.
Yeah.
You'll find also that you may get paid for 10 hours, but you'll work 60 hours.
Yeah.
And you don't care.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's a big thing.
That's the key, because you're happy at
Yeah.
what you're doing. It's your passion. It's your baby, and you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah. Because not even in small businesses, any business that you're working for, any job, the people who are just working there and they're unhappy and they're just doing it for the money, they're not happy, People say money brings happiness, and that is somewhat true. But if you want to actually enjoy your career, you need to go find it, and you need to go. It takes a lot more work than just
It sure does.
applying for a job. You need to look deeper, and it takes a lot of work, and you're working more than you're getting paid most of the time, especially when you're starting a small business.
Right, because you have to watch your overhead. And so I've seen people start a business, 2 partners, things are going really well, and then they go out and buy $200,000 worth of trucks.
Yeah.
And, that's not, and then they have a cash flow problem. So, you have to really manage your overhead so that it's, so you make things work.
So after all these years that you've been doing this, I know that Mama has had previous jobs, and so she was working her other career as she was helping Papa work his business. So how did that work out? Like, what was that like? Was it hard?
It was, because sometimes I couldn't give it as much energy as I wanted to if I was traveling and out of town. So it was hard at times. But I also learned, because when we first started the business, I used to physically do all the invoicing myself and data input them. So I'd work my one job during the day, my account executive job during the day, and at night I'd be watching TV doing all this data inputting and stuff. So but it was worth it, because you know why? Because we were both happy.
Yeah.
I was in my dream career that I had always wanted, and I was successful in that. So it didn't matter. We were really happy with what we were doing. So it was okay. He worked long hours, but the business was growing and building, and we eventually just turned it over and outsourced it all.
Yeah. And I know that before your account executive job, you were also a hairdresser. Were you a part of a company, or were you your own boss?
I worked in several beauty shops, but towards the end, I did hair at home more. A lot of hairdressers make more money. Don't listen to me, stay bored. But I did, because I only did friends and relatives, But I also grew a lot while I was, at home being a stay-at-home mom doing, friends and relatives. I joined a company called Mary Kay Cosmetics.
Yeah.
And I never went to college. I became a hairdresser right out of college. So back in the 1980s, Mary Kay Cosmetics was a booming company, but they really were my college education.
Yeah.
And I took advantage to every seminar, every class I could take. I learned how to speak. I learned how to sell. I learned how to do all sorts of wonderful things. And I actually grew a unit, was a director, won a car.
Yeah.
And it was just a really good business to give me the backbone that I needed to spring off of that and move forward and have the career that I eventually did have.
Yeah.
And even with that business, I learned from it and I made mistakes and eventually, walked away from it. And that's okay because I wouldn't have had the 20-year career with Shiseido Cosmetics that I had.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have become the account executive because I learned how to be a businesswoman through that business. So again, I say every choice you make in your life, every business that you have gives you the knowledge that you need to spring you forward to where you really truly want to be, your authentic self, And I'm very blessed and very happy with my whole background, But another thing that I did is I want to tell the young women, this is for the women out there, I want to tell them in a world where youth is everything, I was a dedicated mom and got career-minded when I was in my 40s. I became the account executive of the state for Shiseido Cosmetics when I was 50 years old. In a young woman's cosmetic industry, I was that. I had the ultimate job in the state when I was 50. I was like the old grandma. I was a grandma, at the time. So I'm here to tell you, do not buy into the stereotypes of business that if you are not successful by the time you're 35, you're never going to be 35.
Yeah, exactly.
Do not buy into the fact that you can't have children or you can't, you can't do this on your own or, just follow your path and don't put limitations on yourself. Don't lock yourself in a box because I am proof of that. And my job, my goal, people kept saying to me, when are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? And I said, my goal is to be the oldest living account executive in the company. And when I ended my career, I was. I worked until I was 68 years old. And that's okay. So don't buy into I'm too old or I'm too young.
I think a lot of people in general, like you said, they think that you have to get there fast. You have to get there by a certain age. And it really, like with Martin Electric, it had so many different steps, so many different trials and errors. You're not going to get to the place you want to be in a couple years. It's going to take steps and it's going to take hard work to get where you want to be. And I think you both are living proof of that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I also appreciate that even now with your hair, like you said, you do hairdressing just for family and friends. And even now you're still doing hair. I see you have friends over doing their hair and she still does my hair to this day. She still does my hair. She's the person that everyone goes to get their hair done. So she still is very successful in every field that she has been in.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's because I like it.
Yeah. See, happiness in your career does have a lot of benefits.
Right.
But going on the opposite side of positivity, what was the most challenging part that you had in your career? Mama, what do you think?
I'm really thinking what was the most challenging part.
Papa, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I'm thinking about I have to think about that one.
I think if you're going to be an entrepreneur and do your own business, then you have to accept the fact that you may fail.
Yeah, exactly.
And the failure doesn't necessarily have to be a big one. It may be just changing your model. But it's very important that you set up that model for even your small business and then frequently tweak it to make your business successful.
Yeah. Did you get an idea, Mama?
Well, I'm looking back through the years of Martin Electric, and I think the hardest part for me was trusting in the business that we were doing. It's not that I didn't believe that the work was sound, because it was. We did beautiful, impeccable work. I had to I had to trust and believe that the work I'm thinking while I'm talking. I had to trust and believe that the work was going to come.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That this job was going to get this job.
Yeah.
And this job was going to, because we didn't advertise. It was all word of mouth. It was all Papa's reputation and his ability to design a job, design what the job had to be. So I had no control over that. I wasn't the estimator, right? I didn't have the electrical knowledge. He did. So what was hard for me is that I had to let go and put my trust that was all going to come together. And it did. 90% of the time, because sometimes it didn't, but you always had to just say, okay, that happened. Now we move on, because I know our ability to do jobs are great, and it would work out.
Yeah. And I think that creates the best companies, the best businesses, is that idea and that mindset. And Papa, I know that you keep bringing up your business model, and I know we went over it a little bit in the beginning, but if someone were to say how about you write a book, or, I want you to tell me in depth or more about what your business model is.
Well, I've read some books on being efficient. The ideal business is you have a product in your hand, you sell it for $1, and you've made 50 cents on it.
Yeah.
And you have no inventory, and things are just wonderful.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful that you don't over promise yourself to your customers.
Yeah.
That's a very, very difficult thing when you're a small business, because usually in the length of a year, you get busy, you get slower periods, and so dealing with that gets kind of tenuous.
Yeah.
And that's about it, I think.
I could add also to the business model is, first of all, and I think we touched on it a little bit, is know what the parameters of your business is. Know what kind of jobs you're going to go after.
Yeah.
Know the dollar amount that you want those jobs to be, where your success, that sweet spot of success, no less than 30,000, no more than 80,000, or look at that. Have some working capital, have some income coming in, and relinquish control of the things that you could pay other people to do to free you up what you do best.
Yeah.
So have an accountant, have a payroll company writing the payroll that takes care of your taxes, that takes care of your W-2s for your employees.
Yeah.
Outsource your employees. Where do you get your employees from? How do you hire? Look at that and have that all written down as your business model. I want to accomplish this. I want these type of jobs. I want to make this amount of money every week for myself. I want my business at the end of the year 2021 to have done X amount of jobs, and I want this much revenue coming into the business. I want to have that much. I want to achieve $1 million in sales this year. So you have to go in with a business plan, and how are you going to accomplish it? But don't be afraid to ask for help. And that's a very basic business plan, but it worked for us. But we were so young and so, I didn't have a business degree. His degree was in something else. So we didn't look for that help.
Yeah.
We learned it the hard way.
Yeah.
And so we're here to tell you, do basic outsourcing of basic things to free you up to do what you do best.
Yeah. And I want to bring up that you both didn't have a business degree, right?
No.
Yeah. So it doesn't, have a successful business, I think people think that you have to go to school to be what you want to be. And I think it is a main thing to go to school. But if you find out later in life, you're like, oh, I want to do this, but I didn't go to school for that. still, like, you can still do it.
Right.
You guys
right.
did it. You can still create
Right.
a successful business. You don't need to
Right.
have a certain degree for a certain thing you want to do.
Could I tell you a little story?
How about we let
we
Papa
both
go?
want to sing. We both want to talk.
Let's let Papa go first and then tell
I
your story.
tell younger people
Mhm.
to get their business degree because in most cases, if you get a specialized degree, you don't end up in that field.
Yeah.
And what you'll find is businesses will hire you with a business degree, knowing that you're trainable,
Yeah.
and within 1 to 3 years, bring you up to speed in whatever specific business they're in.
Yeah.
What was your associate's degree in, Marty? Do you remember?
It was mechanical.
Mechanical, mechanical engineering or something.
Yeah.
But it was an associate's degrry.
Mhm.
So I'll tell you my little story. So I think it was like in the year 2001, our cosmetic company had a new vice president. And this new vice president was a young woman. It was a big, she... and I had to get to know her and took her out to dinner and had to, make small talk with her because I was the one who was taking her out to dinner that night.
Yeah.
And she was a lot younger than me. Remember, I said I achieved that career when I was 50 years old.
Yes.
And she was about 35 at the time. So I'm trying to think, okay, what do I talk to her about besides just business,
Yeah.
So I asked her, what type of degree do you have? When you graduated college, what kind of degree did you get? Now, keep in mind, she was vice president of a retail company, right?
Yeah.
It's all
Big
sales, a big one, right? For the United States. And she said, I have had a degree in English literature that really helped me with this job, right, Denise? And so I started laughing because, I had heard that over and over again through other people, but that just proved it. She said, so you see, she said, working on the job, like you did, like for me, everything I learned working on the job and I got promoted through the ranks. Yeah. And so she said that's how she learned the background for sales was working in the industry. Yeah. That her English literature degree did nothing other than prove that she could accomplish a goal she set out for, and that's important. Yeah. Very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is really important that you don't need like having a specific major. If you're very passionate, then do what you think is going to make you happy. Like we said, like happiness is number one. But getting, like Papa said, a business degree, you can pretty much do anything with a business degree. And I think a lot of people have told me that because I'm only a junior in high school. So college is starting to be a more frequent topic for me. And I'm still deciding what classes do I take, what do I want to major in. And I think business is starting to be more and more of a need instead of just a maybe, because I can do so much with a business degree. I can do what I want. Because I love psychology. So I can do something in psychology, but with a business degree, maybe I can start my own business or I can start doing other things with a business degree in a different, I think it gives you a better knowledge about any industry you're in. After, again, all these years, where is your future? Do you see yourself, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I know you guys are both retired and you're just planning to relax and just, not work anymore, but do you have a plan for the next 5 years?
To have fun.
Yeah.
So here's our plan. Our plan is to do whatever we want to do. Yeah. Because we've worked hard for all these years. We've saved our money. Yeah. And it's very freeing to say to yourself, you know what? It's okay. Yeah. If I don't want to do this today, I don't have to. Yeah. But if I want to spend all this money and go to Bora Bora, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Right? So working hard all those years and working at something you love and saving your money, putting into your 401k, having that backbone there to fall back on, pensions, in your retirement.
Yeah.
Now it's the time to just enjoy life. And that's what we're doing. We love to, as you know, Mary, we love to do stuff around the house.
Yes.
So now we're remodeling again. We've lived in the same house for almost 40 years, but it's always changing.
Yes. And you guys you guys worked so hard for so many years. And I have never seen you guys not be doing something. You guys are very much, you love taking on new projects. And I think that makes you happy. That stuff makes you happy. That's why you're always remodeling and changing the house. And I love seeing that side. Because a lot of people think after retirement, you just veg out and do nothing. And some people are like that, but you guys are definitely not. You guys, maybe. You guys do like your TV.
He likes his nap.
Yes, that's true.
He likes his nap now.
I got to admit this. There is a little bit of guilt.
Oh, no.
When you get up in the morning.
Yes.
And you've slept into 6 o'clock.
That's really late.
And you get your coffee.
Sure. He used to get up at 4:30 every morning.
And you sit at wherever you want to sit. And you start feeling guilty. Shouldn't I be doing something?
Yeah.
And you go, hell no.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go get another cup of coffee.
Yes.
Right. And that's what we plan on doing. But I'm 72, Papa's 73. So in 5 years, we plan on being here and doing the same thing we're doing right now.
Yes. Being with the grandkids.
And who knows, maybe we'll be being interviewed again by Mary Seitz, having her own podcast.
I can only do this once a week.
Oh, yeah. Well, do you have any idols? Do you have any people that it doesn't have to be it could be celebrities, it could be family, it could be anyone in your life that you have gotten the most wisdom that has inspired you? Papa, you look like you have someone.
Yes.
He does, yeah.
Anybody that gives of themselves without expecting anything in return.
Yes, that's very important.
Are heroes.
Emma?
My one person that I learned the most from in my life is my mother, And my mother, just gave me all my values and my direction. And she told me when I was wrong and she told me when I was right.
Yeah.
So she would be my number one hero, really, that I learned from. But I have to tell you, I learned from my children.
Yeah.
I learned from you.
Yes.
I learned from all my family members and everybody I'm around. But I never stop wanting to learn, and neither does Papa.
Yeah.
We still, I've read a lot of books. I've gone to a lot of lectures. And so there's a lot of people that I found as mentors.
Yeah.
But again, I go back to my mom.
Yes. I wish I could have met her. She seems like a really wonderful woman. We talk about her a lot in the house.
We keep her alive.
Yes. Yeah. It feels like I've met her. So the big question, if you could do it all over again, would you? And what would you do differently?
It's funny you should ask me that. Interesting you should ask me that. Your oldest cousin, Griffin, asked me that. He said, if there is one thing that you could do in your life, what would you change?
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you that there's nothing I would change.
Yeah.
Because I'm the sum total of everything I've ever done.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm happy with who I am. And I wouldn't be this person if I would change one thing.
Yeah. I think you guys have lived a very great life.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Papa?
I've got to make this as a joke.
Okay.
In my younger years, I would have stayed in school and lived off my parents.
Yeah. Don't let your mom and dad hear this.
Yes. Okay. It has been so special having you guys on with me. I'm so proud to have such wonderful, loving, and amazing grandparents who have been through so much in their lives. And I'm glad I could have you on my podcast. Is there anything left that you would like to say? Any questions for me or anything that you want to just get out that you've been holding in?
No, I think I've really spoken. I want to thank you and tell you how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
And I see a bright, beautiful future for our granddaughter, Mary Seitz.
Okay. You have been listening to Under the Rug. Until next time.